Hello, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Callisto protocol, starting off with a summary of the story, performance, gameplay, and share my own opinions on it. You play as Jacob, a space delivery guy. He and his co-pilot Max gets boarded by Kimiko from the boys, which results in them crash landing on Callisto, a moon of Jupiter. Now they crash land right near Black Iron Prison, which is where Jacob was headed to deliver those packages he probably tampered with. I'm just joking. I'm looking at you, Amazon. But he and Kimiko gets taken into Black Iron as prisoners by Starkiller from the Force Unleashed. That man refuses to die. Anyway, soon after being anally probed by doctors, Jacob awakes to the prison being overrun by ravenous inmates turned monsters. So Jacob and another inmate named Elias try to get the hell out of Dodge. That's pretty much it for the story without too much spoilers. So now for the performance. Now on launch, this game was almost unplayable on PC and last gen consoles, but after a couple of patches, the game runs fine, especially on the PS5. The graphics are next level. The mocap of the facial animations is out of this world. This is probably the best facial animations I've ever seen. Almost looks like a tech demo. The game also has a performance mode that targets 60 FPS. Now onto the gameplay. The gameplay is very combat heavy with the bare minimum of stealth. Combat involves dodging, blocking, and attacking. However, the dodge mechanic is not like most dodge mechanics in action/horror games. The dodge is prompted by the direction of enemy attacks, either starting from a left or right haymaker, then alternating the direction after the direction of the initial attack. Basically, right, left, or left, right. Then you attack with your own combo. Sometimes during your combo, you'll be prompted to shoot, which will stun them and allow you to start another combo. There's also a gravity glove, which basically is telekinesis, that allows you to pick up objects and enemies and throw them into each other, into environmental hazards, or straight off a balcony or cliff. There is some enemy variety, but not that much. Or rather, there's very few moments where the game throws all varieties at you at once, like in Dead Space. The most they'll throw at you is like maybe 2 or 3 enemy types. Now for the level design and atmosphere. The environment consists of a lot of corridors and some open rooms with some structures to facilitate stealth combat. They established the tone of the game really quick, with its visceral combat and areas filled with dead bodies, some messages written in blood like "shoot the tentacles," which is a callback to Dead Space's iconic message, "cut off the limbs." Audio recordings are scattered about, as well as loot or monies called Callisto credits, which can be turned into upgrade your weapons and make new weapons when you find weapon schematics. So in my opinion, the game is decent. They have a base, but the core issue is the combat. The combat falls short when fighting multiple enemies. As you get surrounded without very little ammo or telekinesis, you are stuck using melee, and that's when the real problem arises. In order to anticipate the direction of an enemy's attack, you have to be looking directly at them. Sometimes you can tell if they are a little bit off to the left or right, but not directly left or right, and certainly not behind. From behind, enemies will either hit you, or if you are lucky, they'll grab and turn you around. There's also a block, but you still take damage when you block. So why block, right? Well, the reason why I think they added a block is because if an enemy is off to your left or right and you can't see which direction of attack they've done, then it's safer to block. But at the same time, you move so slow while in combat. Even when you use the sprint button, which allows you to move in any direction slightly faster than walking speed, it's still not fast enough. Isaac Clarke would put the jets on Jacob, no contest. Also, there's these clicker enemies that they introduce in a cutscene as a real threat, but they're literally just blind versions of the basic enemies. They don't one-shot you like clickers from The Last of Us when alerted. They just slowly scramble up to you and do the same attacks you've already seen. Also, shooting the legs off of enemies almost holds no substantial advantage. Crawling enemies have almost the same movement speed as walking ones, and they're harder to see when they get up to you, so it's harder to tell what direction of attack they're doing, so I almost always block their attacks. Also, I'm convinced all enemies are death. If you stealth kill an enemy like pixels away from another enemy, they won't get alerted. You also have the cool robot enemies, but you only really see them like maybe 3 or 4 times out of the whole game, and they actually do one-shot you, but you know, you only see them like I said, 3, maybe 4 max, but they are criminally underused. There's this mission in the game that's so confusing that I'm convinced the developers didn't test it out properly. You'll know when you get to it. And I was expecting more melee weapons, but I think there's like 2. And I was very disappointed in that. But there's a lot of other, ranged weapons, so that's okay. Now we're going to be entering spoiler territory. So the character you meet in the beginning, Elias, the other prisoner, you don't really see him that often, and there's not that many cutscenes between them. It's not that many long conversations, but when he eventually dies, and it's so abrupt, there's like this scene where it's trying to force this like emotional response, I guess, try to make the player feel something, but it just falls flat. It doesn't make any sense. You don't really, talk to the guy that much. Throughout the game, in order to get into certain areas, Jacob is going to have to like cut the little ID things that's on the back of people's necks, the same that's on your neck, and he does it in such a violent manner. It's actually funny when you see it. He can honestly just pluck it off with a knife or something, but he just violently stabs into the person's neck. It's wild. But what's even more funny is that when the Kamiko chick shows up again, and she shows up right when Elias dies, she goes over to him and does the same thing that Jacob does. She like violently stabs the dude's neck and rips out this little ID thing, and then Jacob is just like, "What the hell are you doing?" He's just like, my guy, you've been doing this the whole game. There's no way you're gonna look at her and just in such confusion. You've been doing it the entire game. What's even funny is that there's a scene later on after that, and they're both talking, and he asks her, he's like, "Why did you do that to Elias?" And she's like, "Bro, you've been doing this the whole game. Like, are you dumb, stupid, or dumb? Like, which one is it?" And based off the cover, of the case and all the promotional images that have been used with Jacob in the suit, you would think that the suit would be like an integral part of the game, kind of like Isaac's suit in Dead Space. But you don't really get that suit until like, I want to say, a little bit more than halfway through the game. So for the most of the game, you're in the prison jumpsuit, and that's kind of weird. They should have just had the prison jumpsuit, used in all the promotional art. I don't know why they put the, outfit, this Dead Space-esque outfit, and he's not really in it that much. It's weird. I think Callisto is okay. It's decent, but they really need to remove the QTE like dodges. Flesh out the characters, because boy are the characters flat. And they may have a better sequel on their hands. Next one's gonna be on the Witcher 3 update, so we'll see how that goes. I'll catch you guys later.